One of the most important things that the food bank does, right? It's their role, as the commissioner was mentioning, in emergency disaster response. So this new facility is going to support an efficient, coordinated response to community needs in the event of a man-made or natural disaster. So to discuss the importance of this work and the food bank's collaborative effort with state and federal disaster response agencies, it is my pleasure to welcome the Executive Director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Kevin Guthrie. Mr. Guthrie.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great honor that I'm here today on behalf of the Governor of the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, and Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez, as we celebrate the groundbreaking of the new distribution center for the Treasure Coast Food Bank. The Treasure Coast Food Bank has been a valuable partner for the division, and this new distribution center will allow you all to serve your communities and help those in their time and needs even better. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge our partnership with Robin Safley, who's here today as the Executive Director of Feeding Florida. That is our bigger network that we work with on a day-to-day basis with our disasters. Judy, again, thank you so much for having me here. Food, especially in times of disaster, is one of the most critical resource needs. You've heard the number 1 in 4, but when a disaster happens, that usually goes up to 1 in 2. Individuals need some type of food source. Businesses can be out for indefinite amounts of time waiting on power or even supply chain. People lose their sources of income, and all of the food they have may have gone to waste. After a hurricane, many people cannot travel the long distances because they do not have the gas or the necessary resources to get back to where their food source is at. So having a food bank that is a recognizable institution within a community is very imperative. People know where to go. They know who to talk to. Even when they don't have a way to receive that information, that signal that you do on a day-to-day basis goes out loud and clear during every single disaster. When situations like these occur, we can rely on our local partners like the Treasure Coast Food Bank and Feeding Florida to be resources that we can count on. Having access to food as quickly as possible so that no one goes hungry is crucial. And this new distribution center will help to improve the response and recovery times of everyone in our community. Just from Hurricane Idalia alone, we distributed in partnership with Feeding Florida 550,000 hot meals, 2 million meals ready to eat or shelf-stable meals, 200,000 food boxes, and over 4,000 pounds of rice and beans. This is a huge lift to accumulate the amount of food necessary to keep people fed. Survivors are also not the only ones that need these food banks during times of disasters. Our first responders cannot do what they do without you as well. Our first responders and recovery staff operating within an affected area do their jobs better when they have access to stable sources of food. From your community, as well as here at the division, we thank all of you for everything that you do and your commitment to helping create a more resilient Florida. If you are ever impacted by a disaster, remember that you can always reach out to the division for support, resources, and for coordinating the best way to distribute your food. Our best person to do that is obviously through you to Robin. Robin will come into the Volunteer Florida coalition there within Tallahassee to get those things done. And Christy Rojas, who is one of my counterparts on the Volunteer Florida side, will help you do that. Volunteer Florida definitely helps us bridge that gap between volunteer organizations and the division so that we can help support your missions for our shared goal of assisting survivors' recovery during their disaster. I'll leave you with the following non-scripted statement, and that is, I genuinely cannot tell you how much we depend on the Feeding Florida Network and the Treasure Coast Food Bank. We front load on a day-to-day basis, and I would dare say that today there are a set of pallets of meals ready to eat and state-sponsored water that is in that warehouse so that if a no-notice event, such as a tornado or a crash on the interstate or a fire at a local apartment complex, we will have resources right here in your community ready to respond to your community. Judy, thank you again for having me here. I appreciate it, and thank you for all that you guys do.